Hi again. I'm Linda Rivero, and I'm happy to be back with you again. We have talked over the past few weeks, 3 weeks. We've talked about. I'm looking at the question of how we rebuild our lives when we're in a position where we need to do that. We've had a traumatic experience, a traumatic loss for many of us, and how do we put our lives back together? Where do we start? And I realize it. We start with knowing who. I ask you, who are you? Really, can you really do you know who you are at this point in your life? And do you know where you want to go? Now, in my experience, I've been told by clients, by friends, well, I'd love to know where I want to go, except I don't. I really, I don't know where I want to go. I just can't quite figure it out. And it's tough. It can be very tricky. And because the truth of what we want is often hidden. And I'm thinking about that, and it's looking for ourselves and looking for our true direction. It's much like searching for gold in bedrock. Now, I've never dug for gold, but I have been learning about it and I have been watching videos about people who do this. It's really fascinating. And it's so much like mining ourselves, mining our psyches, mining our psyches, mining our memories for the golden nuggets that will reveal who we really are and what we really want as we go forward and create the next chapter of our lives. When they're digging for gold, they look at the bedrock and they know to look for certain geological configurations on a very small scale, like tiny little rivets in the rock, tiny little indentations with a certain shape and certain color and certain qualities. And those who are familiar with this and know how to do this know where is a good place to kind of dig in and go a little deeper because it looks promising. And they have big tools for a bigger space, and they have little tiny itsy bitsy picks to dig into a small space, which may reveal a beautiful, sparkling shimmer of gold. And isn't that just like what we go through when we're trying to put our lives together? After it's had a major shift, after we've lived through a major shift. I think of it's difficult, and plowing through, working through bedrock. It's rock. It's really hard, and I don't think it's any less hard to dig into ourselves at times that it feels very challenging. It feels like digging through rock. It feels like I don't know where I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if this is going to lead me anywhere. I don't know. But we do it and we need to do it. And we need to get through those hard moments, hard spaces, psychologically speaking, emotionally speaking, because inside may just be the beautiful shimmer of authenticity and truth that we're looking for. Napoleon Hill, famous Napoleon Hill, in his book tells the story of a man who heard that there was gold in them there hills. And he set out to seek his fortune and find his gold. And he went out and he dug and he dug and he dug and he got help from people nearby, but he wasn't successful. And he kept going, but he wasn't finding it, and going, and he wasn't finding it. And finally he just said, you know what? It isn't here. It isn't here. I'm wasting my time. Forget it. I spent my money on all this fancy equipment. I'm not finding any gold. So forget it. I'm going home. And he turned around and he sold his equipment, his fancy equipment, to a junkyard who bought it. And in the junkyard was a man who looked at that equipment. And he thought about the man who had dropped it off, the man who came and told him his story. I traveled so many miles. I bought all this equipment and I went to dig and dig and dig, and there was just nothing there. So I'm giving it back to you, selling it to you for pennies, and I'm out of here. And the guy in the junkyard thought, who knows? So he took this equipment and he went back to the same spot where the traveler had been digging. And he kept at it and he watched what he was doing and he looked for those little signs in the rock. And lo and behold, what did he find? He found a vein of gold 3 feet away from where the first man had abandoned it. In other words, he was 3 feet away from his dream, his gold, his goal, when he turned around and gave up because it was just getting too hard. And the guy from the junkyard, who was wiser, took advantage of the work of the first one and stuck with it and found the treasure he was looking for. And isn't it like our lives? It's just like that. We have to go into ourselves and we have to work through those emotional knots and work through the pain and the tears and the anger and whatever is lying between us and where we want to be, what we want to know, what we want to see, what we want to have clarity about. There's all this stuff, but we need to hang in there and keep plowing away and pulling away, dusting away all the pebbles. And if we do that, there is inevitably a treasure of gold at the end, inevitably, because it's in all of us. Our job is to reveal it and go through whatever we have to go through to get there, because that treasure that we find is our life. It's our future. It's who we are. It's our next chapter. That's my thought for today. I will see you again soon.